we're judged by wins and losses. But I'm proud of how hard our guys have competed, stayed together, accepted coaching, how hard they've gone, because we've talked about all year long about shrinking our mistakes. So this in terms of in general, the big picture, our coaching staff took over, and there was two or three winning seasons in 30 some years, and now here we are again. We're off Thursday night, but that's not our goal. Our goal is to win this thing, and that's what these guys are focused in. I like the mentality. A couple of years ago, our goal might have been get off Thursday night. Our goal coming in here is let's string 3 games in a row. And so we've come a long way mentally in terms of where our expectations are as a program.
Stay here, and then we'll go on the aisle for number 2 over there, Ivy. Go ahead. You're right here.
Milton, being an in-state product, how exciting are you of the fact your 4 years have culminated to the fact that the expectations have grown for the Rambler program?
It feels good just to know coming in, we got high expectations. First coming to Loyola, things weren't looking too good, so knowing that we set a tone to be expected to do great things is just something that's satisfying, and hope to finish it out on a strong note.
Left-hand side.
Steve Rizala, WZND Radio. Coach, obviously closing with Southern in the last game of the year. Is that kind of a blessing to kind of see some things that you can use tomorrow afternoon, or is it kind of not really matter going into the matchup?
You can look at it a lot of different ways. I mean, obviously, we'll both know each other with the scout, having a familiarity with it. But we just still got to play the game. We still got to find ways to, whoever we play,
Sure.
You've played anybody twice.
Sure.
And I know everyone, the question is, because I think 3 of the games are matchups that just happened. We haven't spent a lot of time talking about, hey, we just played them there. We're talking about what do we got to do to be better, because they beat us twice. And that's the big picture. They beat us twice, and we got to find ways to win, find ways to compete better, and that's kind of been our focus.
Come back here to the aisle. Thank you.
For Milton and Coach, since coming in 2011, how important is it locally to try to build back the program from what it was, and in regaining that sort of excitement back in the Chicagoland area? And Milton, 4 years at Loyola, being a Chicago native, how exciting is it knowing that you guys are building something more momentum locally?
Milton, you go first, please.
It's exciting because Loyola has a great culture coming in with the history, so knowing that we can bring that culture back and have the fans and students having to uplift us while we do great things is exciting, especially playing here. So our fan base has grown, and our team has gotten better every year.
This is an amazing stat to me when I took the job. We're Loyola of Chicago, and there was a 10 to 11 year window that Loyola did not have a Chicago player on its roster. That's unbelievable with the talent base in Chicago. Milton was the first one. We got the job that said, I'm on board. And the career he's had, the imprint he's had, he's got his degree. That's going to last him the rest of his life, that he's got a degree from Loyola of Chicago, a top flight school. And what Milt, a lot of people in the city know Milt. For other kids to say, Milt has a ton of family, ton of friends that come and watch every game. That's a really cool thing. He had an impact. We talk in recruiting all the time. We said it to him. So many people think that the level of where they go justifies them being a player. Signing day the splash on signing day lasts one day. Go to a place where you're going to make a splash on game day. Have 130 game days. Milt's had 130 game days, and he's left his splash on Loyola basketball. And so that, to go forward, I think has changed the perception of Loyola Chicago basketball for Chicago kids. The next year, we got Dante Ingram from Simeon. And now Dante's 3rd team All-League. Now here's 2 kids from the city that all of a sudden are having a ton of success, going to get a great degree, and every game have friends and family there. So that legacy hopefully will stay on and continue to roll on to other kids in town, because they know who these 2 are. And so that imprint is going to be is a big change for the direction where we're going for Chicago kids to stay home.
Anything else for the Ramblers of Loyola? Okay, gentlemen, thank
Ben
you very
Richardson.
much.
I'm Porter Moser, Ben Richardson, just remember Ben Richardson.
One, two, one. Check, check, check.
This guy over here to my right, I'd say the same thing about him. These two guys feed off each other, and it's been so much fun to coach them for 4 years.
Left-hand side, gentlemen.
Hey, Dan, I don't want to get you all emotional all over again over here.
Yeah.
But can you just comment at all about what it was like to get that award today and what it means to you?
Yeah, I don't think I'll get emotional. I didn't think I would that time either, too. You know, as we experience things that we haven't experienced here this year, you know, just every time, whether it was Parrish yelling after we won the championship on Saturday, you can see him holding up the sign, say, "This one's for Coach Ward," whether it's milestones. There's just not a day that goes by or an achievement that goes by without thinking about Torrey and Aaron and all of them. But Torrey had a bigger impact on this program because of the players. So, you know, I miss the heck out of those guys. We think about them every day. And I just wish they were here to celebrate with us. That's it, and that's all. It's hard, but as I said, that's life, and we try to be there for their families. And that's the biggest thing for us right now is do what we can to help support those families who have been so important to us.
Here, and then back, Karen.
For Tony and Paris, you guys 2 years ago you finished second. Last year it was 1 and out. How do you use both experiences to help you this weekend?
Paris first this time, then Tony.
Well, starting off, everything starts with practice. Coming to practice with the right mindset. Kind of talking about last year, how we came into the game, and just trying to just let the team know how important it is to prepare and not just think that teams are just going to lay down and let us beat them.
Yeah, the same thing Paris said. Yeah, we just got to take one game at a time. It started in practice. I think everybody went hard. So, yeah, we just got to take one game at a time and just keep taking care of the process.
Dan, I think if you watch Illinois State play, you'd say that's a team that should be in the NCAA tournament. Yeah. Would that kind of be your opening argument? You know, if you haven't seen us play, watch us play, and we think we can stand up and be in that field?
Yeah, I've been asked that question a lot, you know, for the right reasons the last week and a half. Obviously, our record and the success we've had. We're very hopeful we get in no matter what. Obviously, right now, our focus is on Indiana State or Evansville, whoever we play first, and trying to advance in this tournament. But I've said it, I do believe we have 2 NCAA tournament teams in this league. If you watch us, I think you can see it. And obviously, both of us can't win it. Well, I don't know if one of us is going to win it or not, but hopefully this league gets 2 in no matter what. And we can only control what we can control, though, and I think that's important for us to remember and not get too focused on that.
Down here on the left. Thank you.
Coach, for you, obviously it's one and done this weekend, but has your group kind of had the feel that it's been one and done since about February, since you've kind of had to win every game from February on?
Yeah, we talked about that. I hope that helps our team. You know, Wichita State was playing at such a high level, we assumed they'd keep winning. And we've had some pressure games, and then we had to go through some injury during that stretch. And so I'm hoping that pressure feeling the last 2-3 weeks helps us this weekend. I'm hoping if we're in close games it helps us because we had some of those. But you just never know. I'm telling you, we came in last year, I'll tell you, I just knew we were going to come in and win this thing last year, and we didn't. So every year is different, but I will tell you I trust our leadership on this team probably more than I ever have. A couple years ago I trusted it. So hopefully these guys help our team and get us ready to play.
We'll go to Kirk, and then on the aisle, and then over there, Ivy. 3.
For Dan first, and then for Paris. Back to the tragedy and losing Torrey. We've heard and are aware of a lot of the things that you've talked about. You know, the impact and what Paris does with his shoes and the different ways of honoring his memory, and those of the others that perished that night. But I'm curious, on a different level, how are you different today as a person and as a coach, and Paris as a person and as a player, than you were as a result of what happened?
Yeah, I'll go first. I mean, anytime you go through a tragedy, which you learn as you get older, and everybody in this room has probably faced some sort of tragedy, it impacts your life. I think it starts with, you know, I'm a better man and a better coach because of knowing those men. That's where it starts. But I think that I hope I become a better coach because even when things are intense or times there's pressure, you still remember what's important. I know that these guys have grown through the tragedy. It was hard, but I think you kind of get a feel for who you can depend on and who you can lean on in those situations. And not just who you can, but there are people that you can, and you're not in by yourself. You go through life, and you go through the journey of life together. You cannot do it on your own. So there's a lot of ways I could keep talking, but I would just say that, again, I hope I'm a better man and a better coach and a better person because of those men, and unfortunately because of that tragedy. Pete?
It helped me grow as a player as well. I feel like it brought the unit together as far as me, Tony, McCallum, and Deontay, and everybody that went through it. It definitely brought us closer, and I feel like that's really big with us right now because this is probably the closest team I've been on, and it's definitely due to the leadership that we have on the team.
We have 6 minutes left in this session. There are 2 questions up. Go, please.
Paris, take me back 4 years ago and deciding to commit to Bloomington Normal. Did you ever envision you would have this type of success individually and through the program and molding you into a senior leader?
I'm not at all. I honestly, coming in as a freshman, I really didn't know about as many awards and all that stuff. That stuff was new to me. And once I saw all of the awards get passed out my freshman year, I was like, man, it'd be cool if I was on the team or anything. And just to even be on anything is a blessing. So thank the man upstairs. Thank my teammates. Definitely thanks Coach Muller for trusting me and letting me run his team.
Left-hand side.
Yeah, Tony and Paris both, we think a lot about guard play when it's tournament time. Talk about the importance of your guys' roles as leaders on the floor.
Tony first, please.
Yeah, so we just try to hold the team together. I think Paris, McCall, and Deontay do a good. They do a good job talking. I think we all we just have a good connection and just have everybody locked in.
To piggy off what Tony says, he's being real humble right now. This is definitely our energy guy. I don't even know why he's talking like nah. Starting with Tony though, Tony, he does a real good job of setting the tone. That's his role on our team. He sets the tone well on offense and defense. And honestly, I feel like we go off of how he goes.
Then we'll be all right this weekend.
Anything else for the Redbirds of Illinois State? All right, gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Best of luck for the tournament.
Appreciate it.
Illinois Salukis are next. They are the 4 seed. Will play Loyola on Friday. Barry Hinson's the head coach. Mike Rodriguez and Sean O'Brien represent the student body. We're going to ask Barry to open up with a statement about his team being here in the tournament, the Valley, and then we'll go to questions for all 3 Salukis. Barry, please.
Well, obviously, this is our favorite time of the year, and we love St. Louis. We love Arch Madness. Golly, this will be my 14th Valley tournament, and I look forward to it every year, and I especially look forward to it this year because I think we've got a group of men, young men that are really playing well at this time, and I expect nothing for us to play well tomorrow.
Questions? Start on the aisle, and we'll come back here, Karen, to the front row.
Coach Julio Rosseo, Illinois News Radio. The Valley is a unique conference with the amount of in-state schools. How exciting is it knowing that throughout the course of the year you're facing coaches and players that are from the similar area, and given tomorrow's opponent, is it exciting building sort of that in-state rivalry within the conference?
I don't know much about the in-state rivalry part because this is only the second year they've been in the league, but and for me, being in the league as long as I have been, for Southern Illinois, I think your rivalries are kind of naturally built in. Goes back to the days of Southwest Missouri State, but Missouri State's obviously a huge rivalry. Illinois State's a huge rivalry. And I think anytime you take the league leaders, when Wichita comes in, everybody obviously thinks that that's your rival game because, they're ranking at the time. So I think the great thing about this league, and I've always said this, is the coaches and the fans. And regardless, when you travel in the Midwest, if you're wearing a Saluki shirt or a Panther shirt or a Bear or a Shocker, somebody says something to you and recognizes you, and you're able to have communication with those people. There's no hatred in the Valley. There's a mutual respect for each team, and I think that's incredible. I came from Kansas, and there was a hatred for Mizzou and Kansas. There's not any of that type in the Valley. I don't hate any school in the Valley. Matter of fact, I have great love and respect for each and every team in the Valley, specifically their fans and their coaches, and I think that's a difference.
This is for each of the players. The first time you played, both times you played Loyola, you guys won close games. Can you kind of review each of those games and what you did well and what you think you need to do
Mike
well
first.
tomorrow?
Yeah, Mike first, then Sean.
I think offensively we executed well through both games, and defensively the first game I think we did good, but the second game, that's why the game I think was a little closer than the first game.
Yeah, like Mike said, the first game both games were really like a grinded out game, but that first game we really played well defensively, I thought, because they're a really good offensive team. And then that second game, I don't think we played quite as well, especially down that stretch. We were kind of just trading baskets. So Friday we're going to have to play better defense than we did last Saturday.
Kirk.
Two-part question, Barry. First, you sure about that Kansas hatred for Mizzou? And the second part, relating to the Valley, you've been here, 2 teams, obviously, and for a long time, like you said, 14 years. Does it seem like this league has cycled around some in terms of the degree to which you find yourself defending it?
Well, I've always defended this league, so let me answer the first question. All I remember is when the first time I ever went to Mizzou as a Kansas Jayhawk. Coach said they're going to show you that when we come in on the bus, that a lot of people are going to show us we're number one. At that time, I didn't realize the number 1 digit had to change to the middle finger, and it was for about a mile coming into the stadium. So, yes, I am quite confident in my statement of the hatred between Mizzou and Kansas. I've always felt, and this is the first time I've ever worn a whistle with a suit and tie. I'm sorry, we just came off the practice floor. I've never once hesitated defending this conference. I think we're beating ourselves up a tremendous amount. We lost Creighton, and that has had a huge effect on this conference. If Creighton were still in the league, we'd have 3 top 25 teams in the league right now, and people would be talking about, can they get 3 or 4 teams in the tournament? I'm disappointed that any time I hear somebody in the national media say that the mid-majors are going to struggle getting people in. This league deserves Illinois State and Wichita State in the NCAA tournament regardless of what happens in this tournament. Regardless. Their resume, their strength of schedules, what they've done and what they've accomplished is a good enough resume to get in. The faltering point is we don't have a guy in the national media. There's no one on CBS, there's no one on Fox, and there's no one on ESPN that represents mid-majors nightly. And until those networks invite somebody in to the media network that sits down with Seth and Jason on a nightly basis, and all they do is they talk about, let's talk about tonight, let's talk about Middle Tennessee and how good they were. How good they are in the mid-major level. Let's go and talk about Gonzaga here. Let's go and talk about this team here, UNC Wilmington. Let's talk about Illinois State. Let's talk about, Wichita State. And I just think until we get to that time, and it's your job this week as media members to make sure that we do everything we could do to get those two teams in the tournament. Because St. Louis is the only large market area that we have right now that is truly covering this tournament.
Right in the middle there, Karen.
Mike, when you got here, you'd hope to make the NCAA tournament. Just how would you describe how the team is feeling, and how do you guys put together 3 wins or 4 wins here in 3 days?
Well, going into this tournament, I think we going in with confidence. And this year, I don't think we played like a full game yet. So going into this tournament, if we can get 1 or 2 of those, I think we have a chance.
Back on the aisle. About 3 minutes left in the session. Go ahead, please.
Sean, senior Mundelein, how exciting is it over the course of your career knowing that you've stayed in state and you've been able to build a good foundation for future classes coming at Southern Illinois and getting another chance of playing Loyola? Is it fun being a kid from the suburbs playing a school from the city?
Yeah, I mean, obviously growing up, I always considered maybe going to Loyola, but I'm just glad I was able to stay in state and just play at this great university for 4 years. And kind of when I got here, we weren't in the greatest position, and hopefully I can look back after this season in a couple of years, and me, Mike, Leo, and Tyler, and some other guys can be like, we're the group that turned it around, So it's really cool though to be able to play Loyola in this situation. This is my favorite time of the year. Just trying to enjoy every moment, not take it for granted,
Anything else for the Salukis of SIU? All right, gentlemen, thank you very much, and best of luck.
Guys.
close, and this third one's just really just see who can grind it out the most. I know it's going to be a very good and physical game.
Yep, stay here.
And Jordan, can you just talk about the mindset of the team and putting the regular season behind you and getting ready for the tournament now?
Going into this game, we knew it was a new season coming in to the tournament. We're just locked in, focused, anxious, ready to go.
Left-hand side, gentlemen.
Coach, how much do you go back and look at the previous two games against Northern Iowa before this one?
Well, I mean, all coaches watch a lot of tape, probably too much. But the first one is such a long time ago, plus our team has changed, and we haven't watched much of that. But we've certainly watched the last time we played them. It was a very low-scoring game in Springfield. Jeremy Morgan was terrific. He had 5 threes. He hadn't been shooting it well, but we know that he's very capable. And then we've watched their most recent games, so we watch a lot of film.
Back on the aisle.
Coach, how important is it for you guys? I know you struggled a little bit down the stretch, but is it a case where you just kind of try to say it's a new slate, new season, and get you guys to forget what's happened in the past?
Well, I mean, you have to be locked into what's happening right now with the new season. Northern Iowa's lost a couple down the stretch. You still try to learn from those games. We just finished watching some of the Wichita game with our guys about things that we can learn from. I think for the most part, excluding one game, our effort was where it needed to be. We came up short some games and we didn't get the result we needed. But you have to put good basketball together right now, and guys have to play well. Guys have to compete at a very high level because if you lose, you go home.
Coach, you mentioned those close games. How important are those, like leading into March and especially Arch Madness?
Well, I mean, all games are important. You can learn a lot from a close loss or a close win, or you can learn a lot from getting blown out or blowing a team out and continuing not to execute. So I think all of those lessons, hopefully those experiences that our guys have gone through will help us and help them individually. You hope that they learn from those experiences, whether they were good or bad, and move forward in the right direction and play very good basketball at this time of the year.
On the right-hand side, gentlemen.
Yeah, Paul, a couple minutes ago you made a comment kind of jokingly, I think it was kind of, about watching too much video. I'm curious how serious you are about that. And is there, with all the video that's out there and all the time that you spend with it, is there a point of diminishing returns?
Well, I'll say this. I believe there is with your team. I think as coaches are going to do what coaches do, I think each group is different. We know that young people don't have the longest attention span anymore these days, my children included. So we have really tried to, with this particular group, focus more on ourselves. So when we do watch film, not micromanaging everything that the other team's doing, but kind of looking at what we're doing. I think it's different for each and every group and each and every program. These guys could probably speak about it, but last year we probably watched a lot more film, but we have pretty much concentrated on ourselves, but I would agree at some point it can be too much and it can be overwhelming, and at the end of the day you have to go out there and play and produce, and you don't want to bog your guys down too much.
Follow up?
I'd like to just go ahead then and follow with both you players, Jordan and Obadiah. Do you feel sometimes when you're going through video, it's like, okay, I've seen enough, I get the message already, or are you always hungry for more?
Jordan first, then Obi.
Of course, always hungry for more, but it's a part of it. It's just being able to stay locked in and worry about what's going on in the moment.
Yeah, it's definitely sometimes, like Coach said last year, we watched a lot more film than this year. And like also he says, like depending on what type of group you have and what group we had last year compared to this year, just he has to know, and like the assistants have to know, like how much we can buy in, how much we can actually pay attention during that film session.
I think the one thing that we've always tried to do, though, some guys learn visually, some guys learn by actually going through the process. I think this group has been a pretty good visual learner, but we always try, if it's not in a group setting, we keep our group setting film sessions a little bit shorter. We always try to get them in with their particular coach that they're associated with to watch their individual clips, because I do think that can be a good learning environment. And sometimes when you're watching film as a whole, you're pointing out the good things, but you're also pointing out the bad things. Well, sometimes when you point out the bad things in a group setting, sometimes maybe a player can take that a little bit personal, which sometimes that's a good thing. But when they're in when they're one-on-one with their coaches, I think that's a great opportunity to grow and learn. And I think our guys enjoy getting with the coaches and watching a lot of film individually.
Anything else for the Bears of MSU? All right, gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Best of luck. Northern Iowa Panthers are with us. They will play the 6th seed, Missouri State Bears. Ben Jacobson, the head coach, is here, along with Jordan Ashton and Jeremy Morgan. We're going to ask Ben to open up with a statement about his team and the tournament, the prospects, and then we'll go to questions for all 3 Panthers. Ben, please.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. We've had a good week. I think guys were maybe a little disappointed in our play the last couple games, and I think anxious to get on the practice court and get prepared for what we know is going to be like the first 2 games, hard fought and close games with Missouri State the first time around. They're in both those games, and in terms of Jeremy and Jordan and what they've been able to do. Obviously a tough start for us, and these guys were able to get us doing the right things defensively and really making some of the changes that we had to make so that we could get on a good run, and we did that. And what I asked them to do was understand that it's not easy to win 9 out of 10 games, whether it's the first 9 out of 10 or the middle 9 out of 10 or all the way toward the end of the season. And it took a lot from these 2 guys to get that done. So really proud of what they've done to get us to the 3 seed and give us a chance here come tomorrow night. Paul's done a terrific job with his guys, and we understand what's coming. But I like the week we've had, and I love what these 2 guys have done. So I'm excited to get to tomorrow night.
Questions? We'll start here, and then Ivy will go in the back row on your side.
Jeremy, can you just talk about how easy it is? Coach talked about kind of clearing the slate and putting the last couple of weeks behind you and getting going again. How easy is that for you as a player?
It's not easy, but it's just something that you have to do. Obviously you got to use that as motivation and go into this week firing. So that's what we're doing.
All the way in the back, gentlemen.
Jeremy, how different does it feel this time around? You've been here a couple of times, but not a lot of returning guys back here for the Valley Tournament. How different does it feel for you with this group with a lot of newcomers to the tournament?
A little bit, but, in the same sense, it feels the same. It's just got a lot of excitement around it. Really excited to get to tomorrow night. I love this time of the year, and I think these guys are ready to go, so.
Right here in the front row, Josh.
Coach, it's been well documented the season that Alizé Johnson has had for Missouri State. Rebounding is always something of importance that you preach to your team throughout the year. Given the year that he has had, rebounding but also scoring the ball, does rebounding become maybe even a bit more important looking at the matchup tomorrow night?
Yeah, he's had as good a year for a first-year guy, whether it be a freshman or a transfer, a junior college or Division I transfer, is anybody that I can think of in the time that I've been at our place. And so he's just put together a terrific season, and no question that it's a challenge to keep him off the boards. This time of year, and after you've seen each other a couple times and you've gotten to know each other pretty well. It gets to the point where you got to have guys just rise up to the challenge, and I think we've got some guys that they understand it's going to be a challenge, and they know it's going to be a difficult challenge. They understand how good he is and how good Missouri State is, but like I said, I'm looking forward to tomorrow night, and you got to have some guys just step up and rise to the challenge. At some point, technique goes out the window. And these guys have done a great job this week in practice, and I think they're ready to take that challenge on, as difficult as it's going to be.
All the way in the back again, gentlemen.
Jordan, this is your first Missouri Valley Conference postseason tournament. How excited are you for tomorrow night and get this first tournament game in?
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I watched this tournament last year and years before that as well. It seems like a lot of fun. a lot of excitement at this time of the year, of course. So I'm ready to get going tomorrow.
Anything else for the Panthers of UNI? Yes, stay in the back.
Coach Jake, just talk about facing Missouri State for the third time. Split the regular season series with them, and maybe if the two guys could comment on that too, playing the same team 3 times that you split the regular season games with.
We're going to start with Jeremy and go to Jordan and finish up with Ben, please.
Yeah, obviously they got us at our place early, and they played us tough again later on in the season when we played them a second time. So, they're a good team. No game you play down here is going to be easy. They're all going to be difficult. So it's just another challenge that we're going to have to overcome, and all the guys are ready to get going.
Yeah, I feel like it just comes down to, execution, a lot of it. Both teams, we've played each other twice. We both know, kind of what each other wants to do, certain types of plays, things like that. So whatever team plays tougher, smarter, and executes better should come out on top.
And, that's the, I haven't been, seem like I'm getting a little bit older now, Gare. I haven't been, this is 11 times as a head coach and 16 in total now being down here and being a part of this. And it's, as the guys have alluded to, it's an exciting time of year because you have the opportunity to go out on a larger stage and compete for something that's worth competing for. And it's going to be the third time you play, no matter who it is and no matter what year it is. And the guys said it well about what it's going to take. And at the end of the day, you got to. Jeremy mentioned it briefly about coming out firing, and Jordan mentioned it about toughness and competing. And I learned a few years back that trying to put in a bunch of new plays. We've got like everybody else, we've got 1 or 2 things that'll be a little bit different, but 90+% of what we need to do tomorrow, we've been working on all year, and in particular the last month. And so it's not about tricks tomorrow night, or if you get to Saturday and if you get to Sunday. It's about being who you are, and it's about having the will and the toughness to compete for what's worth fighting for on Sunday.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much, and best of luck in the tournament.
Thanks, Joe.
McDuffie represent the student body. Head coach Greg Marshall's in the middle. We're going to ask him to start off with a statement on his team and being in St. Louis, and we'll go to questions for all three Shockers. Greg, please.
Well, I think we've had a nice year up to this point. We've gotten better throughout the course of the season. We don't have a recruited senior scholarship player, so basically we had a junior class, a couple of sophomores, including Marcus, and then some freshmen and a couple of JUCOs, and we had to just develop them. And the trip to Canada helped. We saw what we weren't doing well. We were able to work on that all fall, emphasize our deficiencies, and we've played pretty well as the year's gone on. We keep getting better. It'll be interesting to see how hungry we are in this tournament and how much we want to win.
Questions? Start right here. Paul?
Hey, Greg, at the luncheon you mentioned pace slowing down, scores lower in tournament play. Why is that? Why does that seem to happen in these kind of things?
It's just my perspective on postseason basketball over the years. I've been doing this for 32 years. I've seen a lot of postseason basketball, and by and large, it's less transition and more half court. I don't know why that is, but that's just from my vantage point, that's what I've seen, and usually that holds true. And we'll try to get out in transition. We'll try to get some stops and steals, and it makes it a lot easier when you can score without attacking a set defense. But generally, you're going to see, more half court, who can execute better, who's going to limit the other team to one shot and secure that defensive rebound, so they get an opportunity to go grind on the other end.
Right here, Dave.
Greg, one of your potential opponents tomorrow, Bradley, has made some strides during the course of this season. Could you kind of, from your vantage point through seeing them in person and on video, kind of trace their development and what sorts of problems they might present to you tomorrow?
Yeah, I saw a team at our place. They had started with a bunch of freshmen the year before Brian's first year, and then there was a second group of freshmen coming in right behind him. And so the first time I had seen kids like Brown and Cannell and Cook Bar, is it Cook Bar? Koch Bar, was at our place, and they didn't fare well, but they were very, very good at their place a month later, whatever it was. So right there, I saw some development with his team. I talked to Brian after the game, and I said, man, you got some good young players, and they started winning down the stretch in the conference regular season. So they almost got out of the Thursday round, which would have been an accomplishment with that young team. And who knows who's going to win tomorrow, because Drake's had their moments as well. But either way, we're going to have to play well to win. At this time of year, everybody's a little bit desperate, and a team like Bradley gets hot, plays 3 straight days of really good basketball. Who knows how far they can go? So, but their first objective will be to beat Drake, and then if they can beat Drake, they'll try to beat us.
On the aisle, in a blue shirt. Wait for the mic, please. Thank you.
Coach, as you mentioned, teams tend to play better this time of year, especially in this tournament. What is it facing a team a third time? I mean, what is it that makes it so difficult to get wins in this tournament?
Well, I think going back to what I said the last question, there's 8 teams today in this league that have no shot of going to the NCAA tournament unless they win this tournament. There's 2 that hope that they can get there without winning the tournament, but there's no guarantee. So there's a desperate feel in the air. Teams that want to go to the NCAA tournament understand what that's like. I I've got guys in my program that have never been. Landry Shamit's never played in an NCAA tournament, but he certainly has an opportunity. But to secure that 100%, not have to wait for a week on the pundits and the experts and the selection committee, then we need to win 3 games this weekend.
Right here, Paul.
Hey, Landry, when you start thinking about tournament basketball and maybe more half court grinding, that kind of thing, what's that mean from a player perspective? How do you, I don't know if you adjust or prepare, how do you get ready for that kind of scenario?
Well, I mean, it's just being a basketball player, adjusting to your opponent, adjusting to the game, the flow of the game, and just knowing what you got to do coming into a game to beat the opponent. So I think we got guys on our team that understand and can pick up on things like that and be able to adjust and do things like that to get a win.
Kirk, and then back to Paul.
Yeah, Greg, given what your team has accomplished in this season and 17-1, tying for the league title, the non-conference schedule that you put together, all that you've done and the development of the team, how frustrating is it to reach this point and still have that uncertainty, that question mark hanging over you as you come into this weekend in terms of what's next after this weekend in the NCAA?
Yeah, it's frustrating. I mean, I've watched this team evolve, and I've been around some really good teams. I've been around an undefeated team, 35-0 to start a season. I've been around Final Four team. I've been around a Sweet 16 team. I've been around NBA guys, and I've seen this team go from a very inexperienced group, somewhat immature and not very tough. On our Canadian trip this summer, gave up over 80 points a game to a team that is on par defensively with some of the teams that we've had in the last handful of seasons, which are historically, in terms of points allowed per game and defensive field goal percentage and rebounding margin, some of the best that have ever played in this league. But what has been most gratifying is to see how offensively we have developed as a unit, and they share the basketball, they take care of the basketball. Our assist to turnover ratio is better than it was when we had 2 NBA guards in the backcourt last year. We have balanced scoring. I mean, Marcus leads us, but I couldn't even tell you what he averages, but it's not 15 points a game. But we've got 5 or 6 guys that are all right there at the same level. So we're a dangerous offensive team, and we've scored 80 points or more 20-something times. So I'm just, all I can say to those people that say that is just watch our team play. And I've said that over and over and over. If you have doubts, watch our team play. And if you still have doubts, then either we had a really bad game or maybe you don't know that much about basketball.
We got 6-7 minutes left in this session. Paul's up.
Hey, Marcus and Landry, could you, I guess I'm curious, do you feel like you don't have as much mileage on your legs now here in March as maybe some other players do because of the minutes, because of the depth on this team? Do you feel, maybe fresher or sprier just because how the season's played out?
Marcus first, please, and then Landry.
I don't think it's any different. I mean, whoever's out there is gonna do what they have to do. I mean, that's coach's decision to put in whoever he wants to put in. So we just gonna continue to do what we have to do.
Yeah, with the depth we have, I think it definitely helps. That's another advantage of us, being a potential tournament team. We've got a lot of guys that are, like Coach said, they can play at a high level with no drop-off depending on who's in the game. So it definitely does help being deep with minutes and fresher legs, like you said, Paul.
Anything else for the Shockers? All right, gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
And best of luck to you.